Hello, beautiful mamas. I hope you're having a fantastic summer. Today, I'm going to be talking about rest for success and how rest can really help you to be more productive and more intentional and more purposeful during your work and mom life time. I know it sounds a little bit counterintuitive, but I'm telling you, you really need to learn how to slow down so you can speed up.
Welcome to the Abundant Mom Life for Network Marketers show, where we choose to grow a successful and sustainable business from the crazy caffeine-filled comfort of home using flexible productivity strategies that simplify, optimize, and systemize our business and mom life. Hi, I'm Melody Bishop, a Jesus-loving boy mom, former teacher, turned top 1% network marketer, turned entrepreneur. I believe you can slay your day without being a slave to the hustle. If you're ready to get your time freedom back and design the life you love, you're in the right place. It's time to rise up, know your worth, and live abundantly.
Welcome back, mamas. Today we are talking about rest for success, and as God often does, I was going to be talking about something very different. And I needed to take a break outside to get some rest from all the crazy summer mom life noise. And as I was outside just trying to get a few minutes of peace and quiet, God spoke to me that He wanted me to talk about rest. And He also gave me the title Rest for Success. So during summer, it's really difficult to be a work-at-home mom. Now, being a work-at-home mom the whole year can be challenging. It is definitely worth it, but especially during the summer, you know what I'm talking about. And even if you're as intentional and purposeful as I am, where my son, my youngest, has a summer focus blocks planner that he's been using and he loves it, and it really is very helpful. I have my own focus blocks planner that every season when we have a different change with schedules, which happens a lot in our family, I have to reevaluate and reassess and move those flexible focus blocks around. So even someone like me, who is from the outside looking in most of the time, a very productive and intentional and organized person, struggles with this concept of rest and also struggles with the craziness of mom life and working from home. So I want to sort of riff today about these challenges and really speak from my heart without an outline or without anything else prepared ahead of time, because I really feel like that's what the Lord wants me to do, especially since He gave me this topic in the first place. And I really just want to hopefully have Him speak through me so that I can be an encouragement and even maybe an inspiration for those of you who might be struggling right now and any time of the year, depending on when you're listening to this. This is a regular struggle. All right. And I know you feel me. So today, and especially the past couple of weeks, there's been a lot going on. The Lord is having me pivot. The kids are home. My husband was home. His schedule is constantly changing. So now he's working nights, and he's been working almost every day of the week. So there's just a lot of adjustments that have been going on, and a lot on my plate, and a lot of things that I'm trying to manage the best that I can, that I cannot control, that are out of my control. But because I grew up in a home where I had to be an adult very early on, and I had to act like an adult and act like an adult while I was still a child, a very young child. We're talking like 7, 8 years old on. And I had to take care of myself for the most part. I have developed this tendency to want to control things. And it's rooted from my childhood, where that was actually factual. I had to control a lot of what was going on in my childhood, or it would be out of control, or things just wouldn't get done. And that has spilled over into my own adulthood and my own parenting and my own business and mom life and home life and all the things. So one of the things that you need to be, especially as an entrepreneur and a mom, but everyone needs to develop this skill, is being self-aware. I mean, obviously I've come a long way. Okay, I used to be a lot worse when it came to controlling, but it's still something, because I have those trauma triggers. It's still something that I work on and have to work on, and I'm still growing in as well. But I'm aware of that. I'm not pushing it aside. I'm not denying that that's a challenge and a struggle of mine. I know that's a struggle of mine. I know that there are triggers. And you have to then first acknowledge what your struggles are. Take a step back and look at it and see how it's affecting your life. And then you have to decide, I need to figure out a way to become more self-aware of these triggers so that I can create some sort of a protocol, if you will, to step back and deal with these emotions, deal with these triggers, deal with these reactions before they get out of hand. And that's the importance of being self-aware, because we all have things we struggle with. We all do. And that's not the only thing I struggle with. But the reason why I'm sharing that is because when life gets out of control and I have a lot of triggers going on, I know that in those periods, in those moments, that I really need to take more time to pause and pray and just stop myself from constantly being reactionary. Because when you're in those moments where you're having constant triggers all around you, it's really hard to just have a healthy relationship with yourself and those around you as well, if you are not actively, purposefully taking steps to calm yourself down and combat those triggers. So first of all, I want to encourage you to be self-aware. What are your triggers that get you all worked up and wound up? Because when that happens, you don't have as much patience, right? Usually there's the person who bottles things up and then explodes. And then there's the person who just constantly explodes. There's just no in between for that person. They go from 0 to 60 in 2 seconds flat. Now, I'm the person who bottles things up. And I know that about myself. So I can feel the pressure rising, kind of like when you have a boiling pot of water with a lid on, and you can see that, oh, the pressure is rising, the lid is starting to pop off. You have to be the only one, because you're the only one who can do this, who recognizes when internally, when your water is starting to boil before it boils out of the pot. So the past couple of days, there have been a lot of triggers, and just now I had to step outside, and thank God for our back porch, because it's my safe haven in the summer. So for me, some of my triggers are chaos. When the house is out of order and unorganized and things aren't put in their place, that creates built up anxiety in me. And noise. Lots and lots of noise. That's another one of my triggers. When there's a lot of chaotic noise, I'm not talking about harmonious noise like listening to music in the background or, listening to a podcast or whatever. I'm talking about like chaotic noise. And I love my son, but he is like a walking ball of chaotic noise. And I don't want to change him per se. I am trying to help him manage that a little bit better. But it's definitely a trigger for me. And part of me wants to learn how to tune it out. But the other part of me knows that I need to just learn how to better deal with that so that it doesn't bubble up and get to the point where I am exploding and I am cranky and my patience is thin, etc., etc., etc. So what does this have to do with rest? Well, when you are not working and living from a place of intentional rest, your fuse is much shorter than what it is when you are intentionally working from a place of rest. So rest can be, obviously, you're getting enough sleep. You are making sure that you are taking care of yourself, self-care, soul care, getting in the Word, praying, praise music, worship, attitude of gratitude, a positive mindset. All of those things play into rest. But I'm going to talk about rest in a way of knowing when to just shut it all down so you can take a step back and just breathe. Take a step back and breathe. Sometimes you just need to take a step back, pause all the things, and breathe. So throughout the summer, because my youngest is home a lot, there really isn't a camp or anything that he can do right now. He's also very smart and very lovable and very creative, but he's very immature for his age. So that also limits, and that's part of the special needs, but that limits a lot of the things that he could do and can do because he's one of those kids who needs a lot of supervision. You can't really leave him alone for a very long period of time, even though he's 9 years old. So I am here with him and I have to be constantly monitoring him. So I cannot necessarily block myself away from the noise or out from the noise because I need to be monitoring him. I need to be able to hear him. I need to be able to see what he's doing because otherwise he could potentially inadvertently hurt himself or damage something in the house or who knows what if I'm not paying attention to him. So sometimes I just have to take a few minutes and breathe. It sounds silly. It sounds cliche, but sometimes in those moments when you're all worked up and you're ready to explode, you don't realize that you stopped breathing. You stopped, like you're breathing, but you're not breathing normally. You're not, it's your body and it ends up getting your body more worked up. So my first tip for you would be to just take a few moments and intentionally slow down your breathing. Take some nice deep breaths from your diaphragm and do that until you feel like you've calmed down a little bit. Then if you need to, try and step outside for a little bit where you can get away from the noise. I don't know if you have a sensory overload like I do. I have auditory sensitivity, and it's ironic because both of my kids have auditory sensitivity, including the one who is the loudest child I've ever known. And he's loud all day long. And the reason why I'm recording in my office when I usually record in my bedroom is because I'm just going to let all the noise fly. So if there happens to be noise, that's perfect for this episode. And if there isn't, that's okay too. But sometimes you have to step outside for a few minutes. And sometimes you have to put things aside. Sometimes, for example, today, I wanted to reach out to people. I wanted to follow up with people, but I knew that I wasn't in the right mindset to do it because my emotions were so frazzled. My nerves were so frazzled that I said to myself, you know what? I'm just going to take care of myself right now. I'm going to do something else that doesn't require me to really have this, mindset focus. I will get some other things done. And tomorrow's a new day. I'm just going to do my best to take care of my own emotional and mental health right now. I'm going to do my best to calm myself down and do some other things while I'm waiting. And we'll tackle this again tomorrow when I'm in a better headspace. Because sometimes that's what you need to do. Sometimes that's what you need to do. And you know what? I'm giving you permission to take a break and rest. Now, that doesn't mean you have to take an unproductive break. You could do some stuff around the house. You could, for example, I don't know if you're like me, but when I get frustrated or when I get upset or angry or I have some pent-up emotions that I can't necessarily just let them out all the time because I have to also keep myself in a controlled environment around my family, I clean because it helps me kind of focus that energy into something positive. It helps me channel that energy into something positive. So for some reason, it helps me to kind of be more grounded because I know I'm doing something productive. So I know I'm not just sitting there waiting for myself to calm down. You have to know what helps you. Everybody's different. So cleaning might not help you, but I, encourage you to give it a shot because I know that it helps a lot of people. And then you'll have a clean house. So, whatever helps you. Maybe going for a walk will help you if you can do that. Walking the dog, maybe exercising helps you if you can step aside and do that. Maybe cooking or baking or organizing or whatever it is will help you to sort of channel that energy into a positive place to help you kind of settle and calm down a little bit. That's also a form of rest. Knowing when to switch gears and knowing when to shift from one task or one mode to another. And in MomLife, my goodness, doesn't that sound like MomLife? You're constantly having to do that in MomLife. You're constantly having to shift from the work hat, and then we take that off, and we put on the mom hat, and then we take that off, and we put on the home hat where you're cooking or you're cleaning or you're tidying up. And then we take that off and we put, the leader hat on. And then we take that off and we put whatever. We wear so many different hats and we're constantly having to take one off and put another one on. And oftentimes we're wearing two hats at once. So give yourself some grace, mama. And my 3 tips for you. Number 1, be self-aware. Number 2, pause, pray, and then pivot. If you need to, do something different. And then number 3 is find something that you can do that will calm you down, but then also, in addition to that, find something that you can do that will help channel that energy so you can not bottle it up, okay, but get it out in a healthy way. Channel that energy into something positive so that you can calm yourself down and still be productive at the same time instead of just sitting there and stewing in your negative emotions. So for me, that's cleaning. Figure out what it is for you and let that be your go-to thing when you get super frustrated so that you can do something productive so you're not beating yourself up later on that you got frustrated and you didn't get anything done and you just sat there in a bad mood. That's not healthy either, okay? Find something that will help you channel that energy into something positive so that you are not just calming yourself down, but you're also doing something productive at the same time. So if this was helpful to you, please leave me a review and let me know. And I'm so thankful for you listening to this podcast. If you have not joined our Field of Favor group yet, make sure you get inside of that group because I'm going to be doing a productivity challenge inside of that group very soon. So you want to make sure you get in for that. There's giveaways. It's also just a great group for you to meet other faith-led female entrepreneurs, network, promote your business, and find some awesome resources and trainings and tools as well.
Thank you for listening to Mommy's show.
Hey Mama, if you found value in today's show, I'd be truly grateful if you take a few moments to hit that follow or subscribe button and leave an Apple Podcast review. You can even share this podcast with your team because when we work together, we can empower mamas to claim the abundant life they desire and deserve. Come join our Facebook community at Abundant Mom Life for Network Marketers. Can't wait to get to know you.